As for most Tesla-related news, we turn to YouTube, and that remains true for the construction of Giga Texas. No one has covered that better than Joe Tegtmeyer. While I was in Austin, I was able to meet up with him on, yes, a day that was very windy. We almost didn't get the chance to meet up because of how windy it was. Joe actually lives in San Antonio, so he makes the drive every time he gets this amazing footage for us. So first of all, thank you. And second of all, it was such a pleasure to interview him about just his process over the last 2 years. So let's hear more.
Yeah, how often are the winds an issue for
They can be every once in a while. I guess it's sort of like down in Boca Chica too. Every once in a while you get the winds.
Yes.
Same thing can happen here too. Especially this time of year, because this is when thunderstorms can happen. We get the spring rains.
Do you foresee this being something that you're still doing 5 years from now?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And this is where you keep all your stuff?
Yeah, I've got all my, probably like you, I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got 3 different types of drones. I got my camera, the digital camera. And then this is some of my other drone materials, and then this is where I have some microphones and that kind of stuff
Cool.
as well.
Awesome.
And then of course I got landing pads, and if I'm cold, and
Yeah.
my hats and my tripods, all the stuff, all the battery charging, all the stuff that you need.
How long have you had a Tesla?
I got this one a couple of years ago, and then I recently got a Model 3 Performance as well.
Oh, cool.
So I've actually got 2.
Are you lifelong San Antonian?
I've been all over the world. I was born in England. I lived in Japan and Taiwan. Was in Texas for a little while, a lot of Arizona, and also in Utah. I went to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And what some people don't know is that my original plan of going to the academy is I was going to be an astronaut. So I studied and I graduated with an astronautical engineering degree. And then I was sent to Ohio State, and I got a double master's in aero and astro engineering. And then I was in the Air Force, so I flew all over the world. I've been almost everywhere, and it's been great because I've had a chance to see quite a bit of stuff. Back in the day, back in the 80s when I graduated, becoming an astronaut there was kind of a path that you took. Going to a military academy was one of the things that a lot of them tended to have. A lot of them tended to be pilots and test pilots, and of course had advanced degrees. And trying to get all of that and hit the age limits was a little bit of a challenge for me. So I got everything, but I never got a chance to get to test pilot school, so I never really got a chance to be an astronaut. But it was something I really wanted to do all my life, and I still would love to.
Hey, maybe someday with the advances of commercial space tourism, right?
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
So tell me about what you're doing here now.
Well, right now I've been kind of documenting the construction of Giga Texas, which you see right behind me. And I started in July 2020, right after they made the formal announcement that it was coming here. And I originally came up here just to see where it was because I didn't even know. And so I drove up the day after they announced it, and just sort of down this way, I finally arrived and I saw that they were already working on some of the dirt. This was an abandoned sand and gravel mine, so there was a lot of hills and ponds, and it was just really a place that needed to be reclaimed, and they had just started that work. And in fact, right behind me is where a bunch of hills were, and they were so tall that you wouldn't be able to see the building from here before they took all the hills off. And so I started with that and realized really quickly that having an aerial perspective would be, better. So I brought a drone out the next day, and I've been flying videos ever since. And it's just been amazing.
Joe started documenting this in July of 2020, so he's just shy of 2 years.
Yeah, so not even 2 years. And like I said, it was ponds and hills and dirt. And now look here, they've been producing cars already. Actually, they started in January. So, it's just amazing the progress and the transformation. And, I've met a lot of people that worked on construction, and they're all amazed by just how fast this has gone.
Yeah, I mean, are you
I am. I kind of started this because I followed some of the other YouTube channels that did Shanghai and Berlin. So especially Shanghai, I knew that they moved pretty quickly, and I suspected that would be the case here, but it just really didn't prepare you to what you actually see. I mean, every day you come out and film, there's something new, and there's so much of it.
Yeah.
And also just the area, there's over 3,000 acres for the land area. And it's been purchased over time and growing. There's about 1,000 of it that's under current construction right now. And when I fly a drone, whenever I fly about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I put about 15 miles on the drone every day. Some of it's already starting construction in the far northeast. The battery cathode plant the foundation's actually being prepared. In fact, today they just started doing geopiers, which is piers that go about 30 to 50 feet into the ground and support the area for the structure. And they're just now starting that. Over in this area, just to the north, they're going to be starting a permanent electrical switchyard and a megapack installation. And then down to the southwest across the highway, and you'll probably be interested in this, they're building another foundation, and the rumors are very strong that it's a Starlink manufacturing facility to make the dishes for the Starlink. You never know what you're going to find. You know, it's sort of the Forrest Gump thing. It's like a box of chocolates. I didn't have a whole lot of drone experience. Most of my background in aviation really helped me, I think, with understanding situational awareness, the environment, the winds, the regulations, that kind of thing. But the actual flying the drone is something I started doing just before I started doing Giga Texas.
Wow.
So if you watch my videos, you'll see that I've made a lot of progress in learning how to position the drone, what types of shots to make, what works out best for lighting, and that kind of thing. But it's been a great experience to learn that.
What is it like to have such strong support on Patreon?
It is absolutely amazing. I would say at first I wasn't even sure if what I was doing was worthy of a Patreon kind of thing. I had heard people doing that, but I actually almost decided not to initially. But a few other people that I know, we've also got a few other drone pilots that have been around. We call ourselves the Quad Squad. They convinced me to give it a try, and it has grown enormously. And I've got about 400 patrons now, which is incredible. And their support, their encouragement, the dialogue back and forth, a lot of them providing me information or suggestions has been extremely helpful.
Is this your full-time job right now?
It is pretty much. I live in San Antonio, so I have to travel up here, and that's about 3.5 hours of driving if everything is perfect back and forth, plus flying and then doing all the editing and uploading and all that stuff. So it's probably about 12 to 14 hours a day. For the first year, I did it every other day, but the second year, I just did it Monday, Wednesday, Friday to try to cut it down a little bit, make it a little bit more manageable. I retired from the Air Force in 2013, and then I was working for USAA for several years after that. Then I retired, mostly to go help take care of my mom before she passed away. And after that, I've got my own shop. It's called Joe's Last Chance Garage, and I help a lot of people with particularly mostly Porsches, finding them, restoring them, that kind of thing. But I always was interested in electric vehicles, Teslas. I learned a lot more about them, and kind of turned that and the building of Giga Texas into what is now my full-time job. Well, I don't know. It's been a amazing, wild ride. To be quite honest, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I started this. Like I said, I wasn't even sure if people would be interested. You know, I thought, well, let me do some videos, let me put that out there. And it just grew amazing. And the other thing that I wanted to add to it, rather than just doing regular flights, is I wanted to provide information. And I like to know why something is happening or what are they doing. And I found that a lot of people really enjoy that and they appreciate that. So before the video starts, I do a little intro and I kind of talk about some information of what's going on or what you're going to see out at the site.
And for today, we're going to look into the official renderings that Tesla has released for the first time on Giga Texas and see what we can figure out.
And then through the video, I provide a little bit of tidbits here and there about, hey, look at this here, this is what this is, or this is what it's going to be, or look out for this in the next couple of weeks. And it's really had a great reception, and I like it because I like to know what's going on and share that, and it's just been amazing the number of people that find that very interesting, and they appreciate that.
Do you foresee this being something that you're still doing 5 years from now?
5 years, I don't know, but I do know that there's quite a bit of construction that's going to be going on. SpaceX and Tesla employed something called agile project management, which basically is the old ways is you have to build everything so it's completed, and then you do the product, or you build the Starship or the cars or whatever. But what they're doing here is, as the factory is building, they are also building the products. So the products are expanding as the construction is expanding, and there's going to be more and more facilities, more and more capabilities added to this over time. So there's a lot more to. So I really want to say thank you to Elon Musk, Tesla, the Tesla employees, all the contractors out here that have allowed me to do this. They've really embraced this, which is unique amongst automotive manufacturing, and as you've seen down in Starbase, it's unique amongst these kinds of companies to allow that to happen.
Yeah, you had to get permission?
Yes.
How did you go about that, and how did you correspond with them?
Well, like everything with Elon, it's through Twitter. So when we first started here, security was new, and they didn't know how all this was going to work, and they weren't too sure if we should be doing this or not. So a few of us reached out to Elon on Twitter. I also, at the time, there was actually media relations for Tesla, which doesn't exist anymore, but I reached out to that as well. And then through those avenues, we were able to get permission directly from Elon. And from that moment on, talking with the security became great. We got to be friends with them. We worked out a lot of procedures, what we can and cannot do. Also, some people don't know, but the contractors actually flying drones out here quite a bit too, for surveying and to check on the progress. So we worked with them to do deconfliction on altitudes and times and routing and so forth to make sure that it was as safe as possible to fly. And so it's worked out really well.
When you got that permission, was that in like a tweet or a DM?
It was on a tweet, and as soon as that happened, we were contacted back from security. We met with them, talked with them, and worked out all the rules. It was lightning fast and amazing.
When you say we, how many of you were out doing the drone thing?
Well, there's something called the Quad Squad. There were 4 of us originally: Jack, Randy, Jeff, and myself. And the 4 of us were covering this basically from day one. And we're the ones that were working with security and so forth that got the permission initially to do this. Since then, other people have come out and flown drones, and a lot of them do great work, but the Quad Squad was the original.
The wind is nuts today. What are the conditions that absolutely prevent you from flying?
Well, as with everything that's battery powered, if it's very cold, that really limits how much we can fly. When it's cold and windy, that makes it even worse. So trying to manage batteries, routings, trying to get as much as we can, trying to charge the batteries, that is an issue. As far as winds are concerned, I would say if they're steady state at about 25 or 30 miles an hour, and then with gusts above that, it becomes extremely difficult. Altitude is another important thing, because winds will increase at altitude. So if you get about 150, 200 feet above the factory, it can be an issue. If you go higher than that, we can generally here go up to about 400 feet in altitude. At those altitudes, the winds can be so much that you can't get the drone back. So you have to be very careful with that. Yeah, several of the other drone pilots around here have crashed or lost their drones, but I think, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of experience, but my aviation background, I think, comes into play just to make sure that you understand the conditions. I pre-fly a lot of the stuff, or I come up with routes that I want to do, and I check the weather and I make sure that I understand what the conditions are before I actually fly.
And you've taken your drone over Starbase?
I have not taken the drone over Starbase because I'm not really able to do that, but I have been down to Starbase, and I actually did a video at early December of 2021. It was basically all ground cameras and so forth, but I tried to do something a little bit different. I hadn't really seen it. I kind of was showing you, if you arrive there, what is it? What do you see? What is the road getting there? What is the first thing? Where the Starbase sign is? Where the rocket garden is? And then worked my way all the way down to the orbital launch facility and kind of showed what it is like all the way down there.
They don't allow drones?
No, they don't, as far as I know. I know that there's SpaceX itself has a drone,
Yes,
and obviously that's the company and their leg to do that.
Yeah.
But there's really a drone exclusion zone around the whole Starbase area.
I think he crashed it. He's probably asking me to take it back to him.
Yeah, near the end of our interview, this little guy crashed the party. Yeah, pun intended. So we had to go find his owner.
I couldn't make it back.
Oh no!
Guess who?
Also, if you guys come here, you better be okay with eating a lot of dirt. I got so much dirt in my mouth. So it basically ran out of battery power.
It's still on, but
Hi!
Yeah, so it was just so windy, but basically, long story short, he ran out of juice. He knew that Joe would pick up his drone, and he wanted to insert himself into the interview. Unfortunately, you can't hear much of what he's saying. Just wanted to say, if there's a real MVP, it's this eyelash glue. Because these winds are freaking insane. And they're still holding strong, baby.